What's up guys, Chris here with another Eden Zero manga chapter review. And I have to say, this chapter got dark real quick and real suddenly. And I have to say I did enjoy it. And also makes me question what is going to happen next. And I gotta say, this arc is still shaping up to be a really good one. And if this surpasses Belial Gore, I won't be surprised. But yeah, a really good chapter, and I can't wait to get into it and talk about it with you guys. But before that, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell for updates on future videos. It really helps and really shows how much you guys enjoy making these contents. I really do like making these Eden Zero chapter reviews, as there aren't too many people on YouTube that are covering this series week to week. I do kind of wish I covered the series at the beginning, but you never know. You never know when you're going to start a series and if you're going to continue with it. But yeah, don't forget to like and subscribe, and also check out my Patreon and Ko-fi accounts to help support the channel, help with this channel's funds, as I do hire editors to help me make these videos as good as possible. And with those help, with that extra bit of cash, I can make these videos come out a lot quicker, as well as make them worth your while and look visually spectacular, as I do have some really great editors working with me. And it'll also help me get those Eden Zero Explained videos out a lot sooner, as those do take time and effort to make really good, and I want to make sure I don't, skip things too much. With all that out of the way, let's get into the video. And last chapter, we had the conclusion of the battle between Laguna and the Princess of Oasis, him basically freeing her from her type of, it keeps slipping my mind, Stockholm Syndrome, where she is infatuated with Shura after years of torture and abuse, and believes that she is in love with them. We also get the confirmation that Witch isn't severely damaged, but is still alive. And we get the confrontation between Shiki and Shura, and that was pretty much the entirety of last week's chapter. And this week, we start off where the very last page of the chapter was Creed revealing his true identity to Homura, as they are supposed to be on the same side at this point. And that's where this week's chapter starts off. Chapter 160, Scattering in the Starry Aoi Sea. Scattering in the Starry Aoi Sea. And just like last week, we get the reveal of his name, Seiji Hojo, and he came from the planet Oedo, just like Homura. And once she realizes that he is from the Shogunate family, she literally bows down, stating that he is my liege and stuff like that, as it is customary on her planet to basically view them as nobility. They are nobility, and that's kind of how she was raised and was believed to act while she was growing up, while she was on that planet. And after seeing someone of such high standing, she couldn't help herself. And she even apologizes for being so ignorant and not realizing who he really was, after basically repeatedly being so rude to him, and asks for forgiveness, as he says it's alright, and to lift her head. And literally just states the obvious: they're not on Edo anymore. And that he left their planet because he ended up learning how outdated and pointless Edo's class system actually is, and points out that Homura also realized that as she was traveling the cosmos, and now the cosmos are free, and that he would actually really like it if they would basically be treated the exact same way that they were treating each other right now. He even offers to be friends with Homura as he extends a hand, as Homura is literally like trying to fight off, being all, he is above me, but that is only on our planet, and he wants to be friends. It's a weird thing. I don't know how I am with this whole shogunate thing, but either way, we're very quickly going into the whole, let's just be friends, forget about titles, forget about lineage, blah, 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 blah. And we even get, I'm just going to call him Creed because it's easier, and that's his title, and he's being said by that from all of his subordinates. And that he went out to travel the cosmos because he wanted to learn a bunch of different things from space, and to bring it back to their home. He wants to reform the old customs and class system and broaden Edo's culture. And I like how this is something similar that's going on in One Piece, where Wano was actually a closed-off country, and Odin and now the 9 Scabbards and Momo, Odin's son, want to open up Wano's borders to be free to interact with the outside world. due to everything that they've all learned from the outside, wanting to help with the outdated systems in Wano. So I do like how Mashima is doing something similar, but not exact. And I like that. I like it when authors literally pull from real Japanese history and trying to broaden it into their story. And it's interesting. It's very interesting, and I like it. And I like that Creed, while coming from a noble family, has a very noble goal, wanting to help make things equal for everybody on their planet and help change things for the better. Homura grabs his hand and gives a very sweet smile. And I have to say, when Homura smiles innocently like that, it just makes your heart melt. And Creed notices it just like the rest of us and literally like turns away and is literally too bashful at realizing just how pretty she is when she smiles. That is just hilarious. Like he has a full-on crush on her. Oh man, that is just freaking hilarious. Anyway, Creed states that the all-link system is his goal and asks her to help out, as she agrees. And then someone turns from the quarter stating not to move, and it's revealed that it's Jess, one of Creed's shipmates. And if you remember from a few arcs ago, he was on Elsie's ship and was the one that was feeding Justice Elsie's location this entire time. And it was also revealed that Elsie knew that he was a spy, but let him stay on board anyway. Creed is relieved to see that, despite them getting separated, that Jess is alright. And I like how Homer is like, wait, he's with my young lord? She needs to stop that idol, but I guess when tradition is beaten into your head, basically something that you've known for all your life, it takes a long time for you to actually become accustomed to not doing all that traditional stuff. And I like how she recognizes him but can't quite place it. And he literally, like, shouting out, saying that Homura is in league with Elsie and to get away from her. As this also sparks Homura's memories that he was on Elsie's ship before. Creed states that it's okay, she's on their side and to put the gun down. But he keeps saying not to be fooled. She's with Elsie, and anyone with Elsie deserves to die. And you see the hatred and fear in his eyes, making you wonder what happened to make him distrust Elsie so much. And also very good for him for keeping that all like bottled up while he was a spy on her ship for presumably years. But still, why does he hate Elsie so much, despite the fact that even though she knows he betrayed her and knew this entire time, she still treated him like family and a friend? This could be something similar to Justice's hatred of Elsie, but on a much more drastic extreme. Perhaps he was a victim of Elsie's decision back on their homeworld, which led to a full-on civil war and caused Elsie and Justice to leave their homeworld and take two separate paths. We don't stay on that for long as we jump back to the battle in space, where Creed and Victory, his other subordinate, are talking and wondering what's going on with Creed. There's no answer, and that there's probably some powerful signal jammers, and they're hoping that they're alright. But then they notice something on their radar, and then we see above them, above farther in space, this eel serpent thing, and it's revealed that it's called the Sea Serpent, and that it's a weapon that's reserved on the temple, back on Narrow Planet 1. And Eraser, and everyone are very nervous, even Eraser is nervous, stating that this is not good news, as that thing seems to be charging up an energy blast. We cut back to the Oasis group, as we're having some nice banter between all the members that we have seen so far, the named characters as of right now, and I like their banter with the couple basically being like, while they're fighting, they're literally just flirting in their private chats, and I like how they're basically flustered and stuff like that with all that going on. It's nice. Mashima is really doing a really good job at humanizing these side characters to make us care for them, despite us not being with them for too long. And he's doing a really good job with that, making these group of outcast misfits who are fighting to help their universe, to help their galaxy, their cosmos. And it really, I like how he's humanizing these characters and making us want to root for them even more. Because with most groups like this, you don't really get any real connection except for like the big guys, like the people in charge, the commanding officer and stuff like that, plus the main cast and other supporting characters that are around. But here, he's doing a pretty good job of making us care for them. And as their banter goes on, Ibaraki gets something on his radar as another member of their group, Lazar, is running away from a giant energy blast as he's telling everyone to get out of the way. He is then hit by this energy blast from the sea serpent, blowing up his ship, while everyone else manages to barely avoid it. But the thing is, this light is so powerful that Verena, the girl who was dating Dylan, the two lovers, her ship was barely grazed by this light, but everything around her seems to be melting and corroding away. As everyone is trying to escape, they look on in horror as her ship is being devoured by the light, and she's crying, saying she's sorry, as we literally see her face getting burnt and dissolved into this ray of light, as everyone is forced to retreat. And that is just dark. Like, literally, her body is literally burnt and evaporated right in front of their eyes, and we get that panel of her very last words and moment. It's not a big panel, with her literally being burnt, basically being burnt and turned to dust. But man, this is just sad. We were having a nice big moment of levity, and now we get one of these characters dying. I don't feel too much for it, but I do feel sorry for all the characters, and I'm like, this got dark real quick. And we then turn over to Goodwin's reaction, and everyone else. He is just sad. He is sad and heartbroken after hearing the fates of his comrades. And we then cut back to Justice, Eraser, and Victory as they're getting ready to take down the Sea Serpent. And as they go on, we cut back to the Broken Mirror hallway with Homura, Creed, and Jess. Creed continues to tell him to put the gun down, but he is very insistent in telling Creed to get away from Homura. And then Creed, a little disappointed and annoyed that he's not listening, tries to use his ether lock, his ether gear ability, to lock up Jess before he hurts somebody. But just like that, when Jess states, "Don't move," and fires his gun, hitting Creed in the heart, shooting his own friend and ally, to the shock of everybody. Creed begins to stumble onto the ground with Jess in disbelief, saying that it's not my fault. He didn't. Creed, he's trying to rationalize the situation in what he's done. Homura is trying to keep Seiji alive, trying to keep Creed alive, trying to tell him to focus and stay with them. As he basically confesses his crush for Homura, and that he wishes that they could have walked the streets of Edo together. And this is kind of sad. We only saw Creed like 3-4 times this series, but I like that we got this guy's character and setting up a potential ship between him and Homura, and him getting shot in the heart is just brutal. And his dying words are basically him confessing his love for her after their first meeting, which is kind of hilarious, but also kind of sad at the exact same time. I don't know how to feel about that line. I'm conflicted between irony, feeling that it's ironic, but also very sad and fitting for an arc where this is basically an all-out war and characters do need to die. But the next panel is Creed collapsing on the ground, lifeless, with his eyes vacant, with Homura in shock, and even Jess panting in complete and utter panic and disbelief, wondering if he's dead. And I think Creed might actually be dead. Unless something happens and Rebecca uses her caliper ability to go back a few seconds, and Creed manages to retain memories of the previous world. It's like a gut feeling, similar to how this thing happened in Fairy Tail, where time was around 1 minute, but everybody retained like glimpses of the future of their final moments, and they managed to change their fates. So, for all we know, this could happen with Creed saving his life and stuff like that. But if he's dead, I don't want to be too upset about it, as it helps raise the stakes. He was a character that was being set up to be a mainstay. So, this is something very serious. And this also goes to show how deep hatred can drive people mad and be incredibly irrational. But yeah, I want to know more about why Jess was so hell-bent on not on Creed getting away from someone who is basically Elsie's friend, despite everything he's experienced with Elsie and the kindness that she exuded to him while he was on her ship. his hatred most likely has to come from the same place as Justice, because we know for a fact that despite Elsie being a famous pirate, a famous space pirate, she isn't incredibly cruel to other people. So I want to learn more. I have to say I want to learn more. But yeah, Creed falls down onto the ground lifeless and presumably completely dead. His eyes are open and vacant, and it really does seem that he's dead. We then cut back to the space battle with the Oasis team, literally coming to grips with Lazare and Firenna, two of their best friends and closest allies, dying in an instant with nothing they could have done. With Ibaraki getting ready to literally bring out hell, stating that no one here was supposed to die. As we then cut back to Shiki and Shura's battle, as it seems like Shiki is getting the upper hand, backhanding him on the back of the head, low hitting him to the ground. As he states that while he was in space, he saw all those lights out in space. And that every one of them went off, and a life went out. Hitting Shura to the ground, Shiki says those lights won't go away. Not as long as you're around. Now, this might be a translation error. It might be saying like those lights won't go away, or something like. He's most likely referring to the actual battle, with all those lights being, the lasers and stuff like that in the ships fighting. And I like it. Shiki is literally getting ready to end Shura. And Shura literally got caught off guard, as in the last fight they were more or less even, and Shura was playing with Shiki. Now Shiki is in it for the kill, and I have to say, if this happens, if Shiki ends up killing a villain, he'll be one of the first shonen protagonists to legitimately end a main antagonist, a main villain, who isn't like a full-on monster or demon or something like that. Or the final boss. But yeah, that was the chapter, and I have to say, I'm impressed. I really liked it. It helped raise the stakes, primarily because it seemingly got two characters killed. One is a supporting cast member who was named, we got to see, was important to the main cast. And the other was a side character being built up to be a major player down the road. And yeah, I'm very, very concerned with the well-being of the cast in this series, as for all we know, Witch could actually die. That would really raise the stakes, but having characters die in this arc, which is something that's supposed to be a full-on war, it makes a lot of sense. If no one died, then what are the stakes? But yeah, that was the chapter, and that was really intense, seeing two characters die in such, one in a very brutal way, and one that's a very sad way. Oh man, and Shiki getting ready to end the main antagonist, the main villain of the story. Well, the main villain in this arc. But yeah, a really good chapter. I can't wait for next week. And I want to know your thoughts on this chapter and what could potentially happen next. Is Creed actually dead? Do you think Shiki is actually going to go through with killing Shura? Do you believe that this arc will end in a main cast member dying like Witch? Let me know in the comments down below with all your thoughts, speculations, and theories. And once again, don't forget to like the video and hit that subscribe button to show your support for the channel. And with all that said and done, I hope you all have an awesome day.